we have this other story, which was provided to me by M. Xavier. Thank you. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, chat. So I don't really know what this is, but David Zaslav's strategy shift, licensing out Warner Brothers' IP treasure. The mogul's open for business, quote unquote, mantras of Warner Bros. Discovery to aggressively pursue rights deals even for its core brands. Let's read this, chat. Amazon was launching its own $500 million Lord of the Rings TV series, and it was in the market for a way to hook potential viewers of its fantasy epic, and now it's losing them, in my opinion. So naturally, it called Warner Bros. Discovery, the owner of Amazon Prime Video's competitor, HBO Max. Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films were controlled by Warner Bros. and had been locked up exclusively for streaming on HBO Max by the company's previous owner. The trilogy, which generated nearly $3 billion in box office revenue and comprised some of the best-known IP in the HBO Max film library, was now up for grabs, at least on a non-exclusive basis. Whereas before, Warner Media zealously guarded its films for HBO Max, now Warner Bros. Discovery is opening up the fact that, well, they are, as CEO David Zaslav says, open for business. We have a ton of content that has been sitting idly for just purely principal reasons. WBD CFO Gunnar Winfell said at a Bank of America event, September 8th. Lord of the Rings is a great example. It's a non-exclusive window, and we look at that as what we are giving up versus what additional revenue we are generating. So you've added, noting that there are positive knock-on effects on your platform as well. WBD received an undisclosed sum in licensing revenue, effectively monetizing a film that had been, in Winfield's words, sitting idly. Well, Amazon was able to engage potential TV series viewers ahead of its launch with this iconic films. Lord of the Rings isn't the only fable WBD is willing to let out others' mind. A Batman animated series in development from J.J. Abrams also is being shopped around. Bruce Timm, Abrams, and Matt Reeves took the show on the road for a series of big pitches to the major streamers this week and last. The series, Batman Cape Crusader, was originally planned for HBO Max for the WBD merger. At press time, Netflix, Amazon, and Hulu are the big contenders. And while it isn't going to be part of any larger live-action DC universe, Batman is still some of the DC's most popular IP. Once you decide your streaming ambitions are not your North Star, why not license as much as possible? Light Chain analyst Rich Greenfield wrote an August 10th research note. Okay. So this is a major shift for the company, which under Jason Kilar and AT&T withheld as much content as possible for HBO Max rapidly grow its suburbs. I know, I like that. Of course, Warner Brothers is no stranger to licensing content, with its TV division having long been one of the most aggressive about selling shows to other networks and platforms. The message from the C-suite seems to be clear. There's a new sheriff in town, and they are willing to deal even more. Also, stark contrast to Disney, which has leaned into controlling all of its content. At the Coke, okay, so they kind of go into more, talk about that, and they make the comparison. Now WBD is pursuing a different path, with the rest of Hollywood all but certain to watch both strategies. So pretty much, what I'm getting a sense of now, they're going to be giving out their licenses to different people and having them make what they're going to do. But then they're also going to be licensing out the movies they own on their fucking platform and giving them to different people. So does this mean, for example, that, okay, the Lord of the Rings movies, are they going to say, like, oh, now we're going to give Netflix the license for the Lord of the Rings films, or what other platform, and so does that mean they're potentially going to then be taking them off HBO Max and then moving over to there? Because that's the sense that I get from this, that they're going to, like, all right, we're not even going to cultivate and work on content in studio. We're just going to give out these licenses to different people and also potentially remove content from HBO Max and put them on different things. He thinks that's the sense I got him into M. Xavier. So that is that I'm just not digging at all, because then that creates less incentive for me to hold on to and subscribe to HBO Max. So why would I then subscribe to a platform if you're just going to be removing all this shit and putting it somewhere else? I'm trying to think, Chad. I think because weren't the because Warner Brothers is the studio behind Harry Potter, right? And didn't they just recently move, like, all that shit to a different streaming service? Wasn't it like Peacock or some bullshit, or Crackle or something? And it's like, then you don't have access to those films anymore. Now you got to subscribe to fucking Peacock or deal with whatever the hell their service is. And so, like, I don't like that. Then it's like, then why should I subscribe to your service then if you're just gonna constantly remove content? It feels just to me like a desperate attempt to get as much money as possible, as much capital, so I suppose you can greenlight projects that you said that you want to put into effect later on, for example, the 10-year DC plan, which we'll see what comes out of that. I want to see where we're at with that one 5 years in. So, yeah, I'm just, this is concerning. I feel like this is just going to put a chokehold on so much of their own content creation, and it's going to neglect other things that they own, their various licenses, and they're just going to sit on them, and God, I don't know. I'm not liking this at all. This does not sound good to me. What about you guys? How do you feel about this? This is another bad move for Warner Brothers, who is already dealing with one of the worst years they've ever had. They literally they could only afford to put 2 more films in theater, which is fucking, you don't hear about that. I'm sure that happens, but you just don't hear about that. One of which apparently is is terrible. Don't Worry, Darling, that new Olivia Wilde movie. People are talking about the multiple controversies about that film than the actual film itself. But I've also heard the movie's just not good. It's boring as fuck. That's the consistent thing I've heard. It's boring, doesn't make any goddamn sense. Well, how are you guys feeling about this? What are your opinions on all of this, chap? Hamlet Burger's just like, fire David Zaslav. I own the Harry Potter collection on Blu-ray. Says not a big loss for you. Well, if you own it physically. Let's see here. What movie is boring? Don't Worry, Darling. That's what I keep hearing. That's just not well paced and it's overly long. Silkshire Bird, good to see you, by the way. They ain't Marvel. Don't try to do what Marvel already did successfully 15 plus years ago. That's like making an iPhone 4 right now, at least in its new. Damn it, don't worry. Does he got your money? That'd be fucking. I would find it so amusing if Disney buys the Batman license to create Batman cartoons. That would be nuts. If Batman the animated series is on like Disney Plus, because that potentially is what could happen, Chad. Like all these various shows could then be just ported over to different streaming services. This is what they're talking about, like the Batman animated series license. What if Disney goes, yeah, we'll buy that, we'll take that. So there it is. We'll go ahead and we'll put it on Disney. That'd be fucking nuts. I don't know. I would be shocked by that. But yeah, I don't really understand Warner Brothers' strategy at all. This is just so bizarre to me. It seems just overly aggressive, and I guess you're just getting capital. I mean, I get it. You're just selling all these things, but then why should I subscribe to your service then? What's the point? Then I guess we understand. I mean, maybe this was already in the tea leaves, chat, where you think about it. Like they didn't want to do anymore. Like a lot, they didn't want to really focus on much streaming content. Certainly for films. They axed that whole idea of these DC movies going to streaming, like Batgirl. That's a tax write-off now. So, they want to just make all their movies theatrical. And so is HBO Max just going to be the House of the Dragon app? Is that what that's going to be? Is it just like, watch all of your Game of Thrones. What else do you have on there? Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. We got House of the Dragon. It's like, do you have any other shows? No. Like what, Sopranos? I mean, I guess that's what it'll be used for. I mean, again, they're also moving away from a lot of content geared towards kids. So, yeah, Chad, I don't know. It's very very weird. It's very very weird. Well, Batman series was made at Warner Brothers, but it was distributed on Fox Kids. That's what it was. It was distributed via that platform. In any case, yeah. Yeah, I don't think House of Dragon will be enough to carry. I don't know. It's just fucking nuts. I don't know. And so I was saying that WB Discovery move fails, they might get bought by Comcast and merge with the Peacock. Wow. Yeah, we'll find out. That's the thing, Chad. We're going to see where this is all going to end up in the next few years, but it just sucks that all their content will be so disparate that it'll be, hawked to different, people in different services, and we won't have access to it. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe HBO Max will just be the Game of Thrones and Batman app. I think that's probably all it's gonna end up being. Yeah, this is just weird and bizarre to me. I mean, I'm not seeing the strategy right now, other than just like, well, we're just gonna get as much money as we possibly can, and then invest in things that I guess they suppose that they believe in. Maybe, I don't know. We'll even see what those are like. I mean, well, the fact that they're making a Constantine 2, that already concerns me. It's like, is this what you're doing? Are all these things being sacrificed? You can make a sequel. You can make a fucking sequel to a movie that is nearly 17 years old. Constantine? Really? That's what we're doing? That's the plan? Okay. What are we doing? What is happening here? Why are we making a sequel to a 17-year-old movie that I thought people didn't like, but I guess people do like now, which is weird. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. What about Steel 2? They might just greenlight it. Hey, fucking Shaq. People love Shaq. He makes money. Put him in Steel 2. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, this is nuts. I don't like this. I don't like this. This is very concerning. If the first of their big projects that they're literally pitching, Chad, is, yeah, we're going to make a Constantine 2, 17-year-old sequel, or sequel to a 17-year-old movie that everyone loved. I guess maybe. I don't know. Did I just misremember things about that movie? I guess I did. I guess so. Oh, Lord. Hey, that's true, Mr. Yasmin. They're not releasing bad films because of memes. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. They're just making sequels to them.